Welcome back to the Boys and Bolos podcast. Down here in the Rat Tail Bunker and Barbershop Studio, the Euro finals are set.
The Queen's best is in the final.
It's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming home.
It's fucking coming home.
Our prediction was true.
We
Italy
went
and
4 out of 4 in
England.
the semis. It wasn't really that difficult to say
It wasn't.
England versus
It wasn't.
Italy, Argentina versus Brazil, if we're talking about the Copa America as well.
Right.
Are you excited for the final?
Yeah, it's coming home.
I think it is. Even though it was never home, therefore it can't come back home because they haven't won the Euros before. I think that's something English maybe need to figure out for their next
Well, they'll be
slug-in.
able, if they win it, then it can come back home the next Euros.
That's true. That's true. But I just think it's going to be funny because every World Cup, they're always going to be like, it's coming home because that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Something,
They never won the Euros before.
Yeah. It's like if the U.S. went to the World Cup with the slogan, it's coming home. That's how weird I think it is for the Euros.
True. Well, I think that England might win. Good chance.
What do you think the chances are?
50-50.
Let's break down the
It's
chances.
a 50-50 chance.
You think it's 50-50?
50-50. 100% 50-50.
Game starts.
There's a 100% chance it could be 50-50. You like
There's
those
a
odds?
60% chance it's already raining. So that was a Mean Girls quote, by the way, for those of you who didn't get it. I think the game starts. There's a 20%. No, there's higher than that. It's
I
about
love the percentages. This
I
is
love
a
percentages.
Jarrett's percentage game.
Jared's Percentage Hour, brought to you by Shut the fuck up, Jeff. I think there's a 30% chance it goes to overtime. I think there's a 40% chance England wins and a 30% chance Italy wins in regular time.
That's to 100. Good job.
I had to do that math on the fly.
Good math.
It was hard on the old brain.
So let's go over that again.
30% chance it goes to OT. Essentially.
Okay, I like that.
30% chance Italy wins in regular time and 40% chance.
So you're giving Italy a 10% more chance that they win.
No. England get a 10% more chance.
That's what I mean. Sorry. England gets 10%
Yes.
more of a chance.
And this is all because
to win in regular time.
Yeah, this is all because defense wins championships. And John Scheimer actually had DM'd us this idea that, look, England's only let in one goal. One goal.
On a free kick.
And group stage 3 games, round of 16, round of 8 and semis. And it was a freaking worldie that I don't think, the guy hit it so well, it's just going to go in. Every once in a while,
Wow.
there's going to be a free kick.
Pickford probably should have saved it, honestly.
Maybe Pickford.
Got his fingertips to it.
Maybe other goalies would have saved it. I actually think even though Pickford or Donnarumma could get the Golden Glove, I don't even know how that breaks down. Did you see that stat the other day that it was like Pickford's gone 5 games with no goal, he's going to win the Golden Glove? Did you see that too?
He has to.
I think he has to, but I think Schmeichel's been one of the best goalies of the tournament.
Yeah, like stopping more shots.
Yeah, like if I had to choose a goalie right now in this moment from the Euros for my all-Euro team, probably Schmeichel.
It should come down to how many shots you actually stop, too.
That's the thing. I don't think
they've
Pickford has faced a lot of shots.
No.
Which is reason why I do think England will win, because defense wins championships.
Right. I also don't necessarily... I haven't agreed with Southgate's lineup, except for that one game he played Sancho.
But even then, you're like, why isn't Grealish playing?
Right. And then Grealish comes on in the 68th minute and then gets subbed off in the 106th minute. Granted, it was a very defensive-minded sub. I think he put in Trippier when he did that, but I don't think Saka should play.
Why is Saka playing?
That's a good question.
Like, straight up.
His pace.
I guess, but Grealish's ingenuity is 10 times his pace. You know what I mean? Like, he makes up more. And actually, here's a question if we're talking about England, because I think that this will definitely probably influence the starting 11 that they play with. Will they do the 4-back that they did against Denmark, or are they going to do the 3-back that they've done up to that point? What would you do?
I would do exactly what they did defensively, because Denmark
Against Denmark?
Denmark didn't really. Denmark didn't really have any. They got tired towards the end, but they didn't really have a attacking option that was able to break through with England, except for that one foul, which they got a free kick from, which I don't even really think it was a foul. It was kind of ticky-tacky, but I think Italy is actually a better offensive team than Denmark. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. And
so then why wouldn't you go 3-back?
I'm getting there.
Oh, you're coming around to that.
I'm coming around to 3-back, but I also don't think England naturally is best with a 3-back. I don't
Really?
think that Walker likes to play in a 3-back.
I don't think he likes to play.
I don't think he because that's why. Because I think
He has to stay
Walker, yeah, and so he has to stay home. He can't play up the field, and I think that he would rather play in a 4-back. Gives him a little bit more flexibility, moving up the field.
Gives Walker more flexibility.
And I think you have to play Walker. You have to play Walker, McGuire, Stones, and I guess at this point,
Shaw. For sure.
And Shaw can't play in a 3-back, right?
Shaw can play in a 3-back. He's been playing a 3-back. He plays the wing back. He plays outside.
Oh, he's playing the outside wing back. Yep.
I guess my thing is,
if they play in a 3-back with Walker, would be Walker, Stones, Walker on the right, Stones in the middle, and McGuire on the left. Then you have Shaw playing left wing back, and you have who playing right wing back?
You bring in someone else. You bring in somebody else.
Trippier, something.
Yeah.
It changes the
kind of
changes the lineup. It messes with what has been working defensively for them, I think.
Because what it does then is it pulls somebody out who's up top. You lose a spot. But I guess my thing is, they did this 3-back system and they got to the semifinals of the World Cup. And they went OT and almost made it to the finals of the World Cup. They did this 3-back system and they won 5 games and didn't let up a goal. They ended up winning the 6th game, but the only time they gave up a goal is when there was a lot more space in front of the back four. I don't know. With Insigne on Italy, I think he's one of the most creative players. This tournament, I think he's just been on fire. And I just worry that if you have that 4-back, he's going to pick them apart.
No, because they're going to have Declan Rice just drop back.
Oh, they're going to have the 5, and then they'll have Declan and Phillips just sitting there.
And just sitting there. So I don't think they'll get exposed too much. I think
you're saying it. Sorry. You're saying a 4-back. They're still going to have Declan and Phillips sitting.
Yes, I think in a 4-back they'll have Declan and mostly Declan, and they'll have allow Phillips to play a little bit more as a ball trying to get the ball forward. But Declan Rice will be playing basically as kind of like at the front, like almost like a diamond, and he'll be like right above the 4-back.
Basically, it will be the lineup that they had against Denmark. That's
yeah. I mean, and the only player that shouldn't play is Saka. Like, that's my opinion.
Right. So they're 4-2-3-1 or 4-5-1, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
No wing backs. You just tuck in Phillips and you tuck in Declan Rice. Mount will be on the top of that. The reason
I think this
triangle.
I don't necessarily think that they should necessarily play this way if they want to score goals, but I am not convinced that Gary Southgate's willing to risk it for the biscuit and play with a 3-back with wing backs, because he would rather play this way because he will only let Shaw move up the field when there's like a very opportune time, like on a counterattack or situation where he's not going to get caught, because Shaw's distribution is great in the box, right? And so Shaw's been playing really well when he does get up the field. But I just think they're against Italy in the final. This isn't the time to change, like to risk it. It's not the time.
I find it to be more of a risk to play a 4-back rather than
I don't think it's a risk to play a 4-back. They were not there. Nothing was. They were completely fine. Okay. I just think that team is better set up as a 4-back, because you're not rotating.
I like the balance more of a 4-back. I think it's better. I think it allows you to press higher up with more numbers depending on how you do it. But I don't know. We've just seen a 3-back work a lot. Chelsea won the Champions League with it. England, didn't let any goals in. They finally let a goal against Denmark.
I just don't think they're going to let Trippier come in as a wingback or Reece James as a wingback in the final.
I agree.
It's not going to happen.
Well, what's Gary Southgate going to do other than maybe starting Grealish instead of Saka to kind of...
Jaden over Saka.
Jaden over Saka.
Yep.
And then Grealish is still a super sub.
Yep.
What is Italy?
You can't deny that they scored 4 goals.
No, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I mean, they roasted.
Quarterfinal.
Ukraine was maybe not the strongest opponent. I mean, the strongest opponent they played was Germany, and that was a hard-fought game, and they pulled through thus far in the tournament. What do you think Italy does? Do you think Italy lines up like this? And when I say this, I'm showing Jeff a picture of a 4-3-3, which is what our soccer app is showing, which is kind of what they play.
Yeah, they will play that with Jorginho pulling the strings in the middle.
Jorginho, Verratti, Barella in the middle, Emerson in the back, Chiellini, Bonucci, Di Lorenzo in the 4-back. Donnarumma obviously in goal. Immobile and Chiesa are up top. But Insignia is kind of just like, he's the free. Kind of do whatever he wants. He floats around. He cuts. For me, he's the key for Italy if they want to win the final. I'm not worried about Bonucci. I'm not worried about Chiellini. I'm not worried about Donnarumma. Jorginho is having one of the best 8 months of his soccer playing career. He could win the Champions League and the Euro. And Sarri said today that he thinks Jorginho should be in the Ballon d'Or conversation, which is an unbelievable comment.
No.
For me, it's Insignia in the final. He is the piece that if Italy can figure out, they're gonna win. And who do you think's that person for England? Who's the one who, if they have a good game, they can't go wrong?
You know what you want me to say?
No, I don't. I have no idea.
You want me to say Sterling?
Oh no, I don't even think it's Sterling. I think Sterling's had a phenomenal tournament. I don't think it's Sterling.
Who's the like linchpin for this England team to win?
Or it's just like, sometimes like watching Chelsea in the olden days and back in the day was like, if Drogba decides he wants to win this game and scores a goal and then is just like pressing and causing all the problems Drogba caused, I always felt super confident that Chelsea would win the game. And vice versa. Whenever Clint Dempsey scored, the U.S. hardly ever lost a game. Like, that's almost, you can go look up that stat. Just when certain players sometimes are on, you just can't beat them. Like if Lionel Messi is on sometimes, it's like, okay, or Ronaldo, or, players who can take over a game with their energy, their activity, both on and off the ball. I'm saying for me in Italy, Insignia's the kind of like,
I don't think England have that player, but
you don't think England have that player?
I don't think England have that player.
I don't think they do either.
And
it's
that's
like a trick question.
Maybe that's the problem with England. That's why we struggle. And maybe that's why Gary struggles.
Well, it's for me, it's Grealish.
Yeah, but even Grealish, I don't know if Southgate doesn't think he can play a full 90. Maybe he started him. He did start him in the game against Czech Republic, but took him off.
I guess that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem that England don't have.
I mean,
I
think if there's somebody like, maybe the better question is what player needs to play really well to get Kane the ball, because when Kane gets the ball,
do you want my answer?
Good things happen.
Do you want my answer?
Yes.
Harry Kane. He needs to find himself in better space to get the ball.
Yeah,
but that's my answer. He needs to work harder. He just needs to do something different.
I don't think
he's been very quiet.
I don't think it's a question of like work rate with Harry Kane. I think it's a question of like what is being asked of him, because when you see him play at Spurs, he's everywhere on the field, and when he is playing with England, he doesn't need to be everywhere because he doesn't need to bail out the defenders. He doesn't need to bail out.
Was that
anybody.
a pun? That was a nice pun.
Oh, that's a good one.
You didn't even realize.
I didn't realize it was good.
Genius.
It's genius. But he doesn't need to bail out Dyer and stuff on defense. So he's not playing. You don't see him as deep back in the field, right? So he sometimes gets kind of lost up there. He doesn't get a lot of touches on the ball.
That's
right? And
that's my thing though. He's been
But that doesn't but he's a number 10. Like he's not number 10. He's number 9 and he's playing in a system where he's the lone striker. So sometimes he's just not going to touch the ball. But
I guess he just needs to make himself more available.
Yes.
Find the pockets, even just drop back in and let Mason Mount do an overlap. Just do something a little bit more dynamic.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I'm like, he's got 3 goals. 2 of them were in a game where they routed Ukraine. So he's probably, I would think most people would argue, top 5 number 9s in the world right now, if you want to make a list. He needs to find himself. For me, it's actually Grealish, or since Grealish is going to start likely, it's Kane. Kane is the guy. If he has, just exactly what I'm saying. If Kane has a good game, whatever that means, whether he's getting assists or goals or his work rate, his activity on and off the ball, if he's working, I don't see Italy stopping him at all.
Bonucci and Chiellini being able to stop Kane?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those guys love a forward that's going to try to back him in.
Yep.
They love that. What they don't want to deal with is Jack Grealish putting his foot on the ball and pulling them out of position. They don't want to deal with Raheem Sterling's speed. They don't want to deal with maybe even Saka's speed. They don't want to deal with Jadon Sancho dribbling them.
Which leaves Kane open, right? So if they have to deal with him.
Exactly. This will happen, but Kane needs to find himself in more open space. Like this happened in Denmark. There were times where it was very unbalanced, and I wanted Kane to just do more.
I know.
Even do more by even doing less, like holding his position as an overlap goes and staying and then waiting. I don't know. I guess I think Harry Kane's a solid player, probably one of the, like I said, top 5 nines in the world, and he just needs to show out. And if he does, I think England win this game.
Right, because when Kane gets the ball on his feet with even just a little bit of space, he finds an open player or shoots and scores.
Yeah, Kane's one of the best distributors in the number 9 position. The Premier League has probably seen since, I'm going to get roasted for this, maybe Thierry Henry. His numbers last season were freakish.
Yeah.
His numbers last season were freakish. Like, Suarez had some good seasons. Kun Aguero had some good seasons. Rooney probably had a season where he was doing some assisting. But Kane has been just so phenomenal, dishing the ball out.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Kane. We know Kane's going to start. He's going to play the whole game. I don't think. I just think he got the ball more and found himself in a better position to distribute the ball when Jadon was playing versus Saka. Saka is more of a direct player, and Jadon can take a defender on, and he does do that. But he puts his head up and he looks around.
Jadon plays more like Son.
Yeah.
That's what.
And Saka does not play like that. He's a very direct, goes for the touchline, and I'm not saying that's bad. He's just a different player.
Right, because in England's first goal, that helped out because Kane gave him that through ball and he nicked it across, and it was an own goal because he put in a good ball that asked the right questions. Do we both think that England's going to win? I think England's going to win.
Yeah, I think England's going to win.
What do you think the score is in regular time? If you had to,
I think in regular time it's going to be 1-0. I don't think England's going to give up a goal.
I think it's going to be 1-0 as well. But I think the game's going to be closer than it needs to be. And I think if England make the right subs and push a little bit and they lean on this Italian team, I think this Italian team is not as strong in the back as maybe people think. In that game, Spain missed a lot of opportunities. Spain could have scored a lot of goals. When the only goal that the Italians scored was Chiesa's goal, which was a nice, great shot by Chiesa.
Who did Italy have to beat to get to the final?
That's my point.
Let's talk some real talk here.
That's my point.
Yeah. Who did Italy have to beat to get to this point? Nobody.
Who did they play in the round of 16? Oh. You'll hear that song at the end of the pod. That's what happens when you open up your gram with the sound on. Going to my round of 16 picks.
Austria. They had to beat Austria. Come on.
They had to beat Austria.
But
then they beat Belgium, a Belgian side that
was poor.
That was weakened.
Hurt.
Eden Hazard didn't play. And KDB was hurt the whole time.
And they beat Spain, and that was it.
And then they beat Spain. And they had an easier group stage than most.
Yeah.
I really think if you watch that Spanish-Italian game and you're Italian, you have to be very honest that throughout much of that game, the Spanish were just a half second off from scoring a goal.
Yeah.
I think England could really bury Italy. And I know that people will say, oh, come on, man, the Italians, they defend. You're right, they defend. But England has a better defense and a better situation moving forward.
Yeah.
But honestly, never count out the Italians.
And a better midfield too.
Yeah. On paper, this is not a game for me.
Yes.
On paper, this is not a game for me.
On paper, England are much better.
We're also a Prem-biased
Yeah,
podcast,
but we were also saying
these guys are all in this Serie A, which we don't watch as much.
Right. But we were also saying that this is pretty much a Premier League All-Star team.
It's a Premier League All-Star team. If you don't count the foreign players, which we're not, you just say who is the best. It's a Premier League All-Star team. I mean, Jadon Sancho's not even starting potentially. Grealish isn't starting. Rashford, who's a franchise player other than Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United, isn't playing. What we were talking about before we started recording, Chilwell and Reece James can't even get in the side, and these guys just won a Champions League.
I'm not even talking about on the bench. Like Chilwell hasn't even been in this. Like he hasn't
even been in the 18 dressed.
Yep.
It's this English team has, and that's the other thing too. Teams that win titles, I don't care if it's Champions League, Euros, World Cup, even the Premier League title, whatever title it is, they have crazy deep benches. Mm-hmm. You say, okay, why did they win? Well, when they went to the tournament, when they were training against guys that were maybe even better than they were.
Yep.
So the entire tournament, they're getting incredible competition. It's not like the teams that lose have maybe 14 guys. So they got an 11, they got some subs, they get into red cards, they get into any injuries. They can't keep the level. I think that's why I think England will win this. Two things. One, they don't really give up goals. They give up worldy. It happens. And two, they have the deepest bench maybe I've seen at a major tournament in some time. France had a similar situation on paper, at least. It didn't really pan out that way, but
bad chemistry.
I mean, Dembele got hurt, and he was sold. Borussia sold him to Barcelona a couple years for 150 million. He just got casually hurt, and the French were like, "We're fine."
Well, the French were good players. They weren't a good team. I think this English team has good chemistry. They all want to be there, and they all want to play and win it for England. This could be a rout.
I think it could be a rout. This is a Prem bias. This is a Prem bias podcast, and that's fine.
I'm going to go conservative and say it's going to be 1-0 just because England is playing defensive. They're playing I think Gary has been set up very conservative.
It depends when they score their goal. If they score that goal before half, Gary is going to give them a speech about how they just need to kind of get through the next 45 minutes to basically change the country and whatever. If they score after halftime, depending upon the mood, depending upon the energy, if the Italians are slowing down at all, they could push. And they could really put some goals in.
I mean, England could have scored 2 or 3 goals once, I would say, 80th minute on in that Denmark game. The
Danes were tired.
But I've never seen...
Because Denmark is a team that only has 15 or 16 guys. They don't have 22, 23 guys.
I mean, they had to bring a center, but they had to bring Anderson in to kind of reinforce that defense.
Vestergaard looked tired from about 50 on, 60 on.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
And he had to play against some fast little
dudes.
Little men.
Little men. Yes, little men.
But Anderson came on just to get them to the shootout. They were not looking for a goal. They were looking for survive this overtime and get to the shootout.
They were cliffhanging. Yeah. Let's change just a little bit. Copa America.
Okay.
Who do you got winning and why?
We got a Brazil-Argentina final. And I would love to see Argentina win. Messi take a international tournament.
Messi's won the
title.
Olympics for Argentina, and he won the U18 World Cup, which if you're bored and you're on YouTube and you're at work or you're working from home and you're doing whatever you're doing in life, just Google Messi U18 World Cup. The dude
slicing and dicing.
Goal against the U.S. I still remember. He did this Cruyff turn in the middle of the field on turf. It was one of the slickest things, and he roasted a bunch of U.S. dudes. I don't think he scored that. He passed that, and somebody else scored. But that team was nasty. I remember watching that as a little kid.
I just don't like the way Brazil plays. It's so much diving and shenanigans
Brazil
going on.
And Italy win, I think it's a dark thing for the sanctity of non-diving soccer. Yeah, that's my piece.
If Italy goes up in that England game, then it's just going to be dark arts for 45 minutes or whatever it is.
The dark arts that were on display
in the Brazil game. It's just
with Neymar, Richarlison, and Paquetá was burn my eyes out.
It was on another level. Richarlison is 6'3" tall, and he gets brushed up against from a Peruvian 5'2" defender, and he falls over like he just got shivved.
Yeah, he got Nancy Kerrigan in the knee with a pipe or something.
He writhes in pain. He's grabbing his face when he
he gets kicked in the ankle and he grabs his face.
And then
that's what players are doing now because of the whole head injury thing. I've seen many players because they'll try to stop play and soak time, and the refs have to do it. I'm telling you,
I can't. Richarlison's. I just never enjoy watching him play. I don't like watching him play he plays the same way for Everton.
This Brazil
looking
team
for a freaking foul every time he touches the ball. Yeah, they're really bad.
They could be good, but they're so brutal. Peru, I don't know if you watch the games, you don't watch Copa America, that's cool. Peru outplayed them for most of that game, but they happened to win. Colombia, Argentine game, Colombia kept playing, kept going at them. Argentina kept going at them. Argentina probably should have scored a couple goals before overtime. I think Argentina will win because I think that they're actually out to play the game and press and score goals and move forward. This Brazil team is bad, and I would love for it to go to penalties because I think Martinez was just going to destroy. If you haven't watched the highlights of the Colombia-Argentina game, go watch from the PKs. He was talking shit that entire time. You can hear it on the mic. And I didn't see did you see the video of Messi after? Where he's yelling at Jeremy and he was like, dance now, dance now, dance. You going to dance now? because the Colombians always dance when they score goals and shit.
Yeah.
Because Martinez shut them down.
And Martinez is good.
Martinez is good. So I'm hoping Argentina also win.
Goalies in the Premier League, actually.
If Argentina win and England win, I think that'd
Happy days.
That'd be nice.
Be a nice thing for soccer. I also like Argentina has a Spurs player. It's nice.
Is that the only way? Oh, so if England and Argentina win,
two trophies for Spurs players.
Spurs players.
Yeah.
But if Brazil and Italy win, no trophies for Spurs players. Oh my God, is this part of the conspiracy?
It's part of the Spursy way.
Should we bet on Brazil and
It's
Italy?
funny. Just as a side note relating to Spurs, because we always got to bring them up during this podcast.
Facts.
Nuno Espirito Santo is now the head coach of Spurs, in case anybody didn't know that.
I heard he's trying to get Harry Kane dual citizenship to Portugal.
Yeah. Harry Kane is not leaving Spurs, by the way. There's not. Man City was in the conversation. That rumor has backed off. But the funny thing is, that they're having training camp now, preseason stuff, and Nuno's out there coaching the boys that didn't go to international duty or back from it. And you can just see most of the players just had the look on their faces are just like, oh, why do we have to be here? We hate this. Because most of the players that are back are like players that have been rumored to be on the outs. Dyer, Winks.
Dyer and Winks. I haven't thought
Carter
Vickers. I
Vickers.
haven't thought about Winks in many, many days.
Moore is back. I like Mora.
Moore's nice.
Lamella.
Son's not on the outs, but is he back?
Son's back from international duty. I think he's just getting there. Lamella.
This brings up another point, which we've already talked about off mic, which is that there's no rest for the weary.
No.
We were thinking this podcast, we'll have a week or two off in the summer. When this thing ends, we have Saturday is the Copa America final at, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and 3 p.m. this Sunday is the Euro final. But Friday this week, tomorrow, we're recording on Thursday, starts the Gold Cup. And then that goes up basically to August 1st. August 7th is like the Community Shield. August 10th, don't hold me to these days. August 10th is the Super Cup between the Champions League winner and the Euro winner, so Chelsea will be in that. And then a week from that, about the 14th, is Friday the 14th is the first, I believe it's Friday the 14th, is the first week. That's the Prem.
Yep, week 1.
The Prem is upon us.
It's wild.
If you're listening to this, we're going to do, be on the lookout for your email or whatever. But what we're asking people to do is to send in an audio clip of who you think's going to win the Premier League and why.
Yeah, that's a new thing. We're hoping to get our loyal listeners.
Which
that's
is
you.
The 10 of you or 10 million of you that are listening.
To record, and we'll edit it, of course. We'll smash them together.
Or splice.
Mostly smash. There will be a lot of smashing, a little bit of splicing. And I will get into a listenable, maybe with some transitions, maybe something like that.
Yeah, it will be nice. It will be a good format.
Yeah, and you'll be able to hear how the Boys and Bolos listeners
feel about the
upcoming season.
Because there's going to be a lot on the table.
The other thing that's happening that just got approved for the Premier League season
is
news alerts. I'm doing the flashy hand thing.
Oh, that we can all, the stadiums are full.
Stadiums just got approved to be completely full.
Completely full.
Even though that's very controversial in England, a lot of people don't think that's a thing because of the Delta variant. And
well, it's a really, we're in a weird time.
Yeah.
The Tokyo Olympics are basically going to happen, but they're going to happen under essentially a national alert.
Yeah,
so
they're not, no fans.
Zero fans of the Olympics, even though they pushed it back a year.
Yeah, so Japan's a little bit different from the U.S. and in Europe, where they're an island nation that has been a little bit separate, but they still have COVID, but they've always been kind of weird about foreigners anyway, and they wear masks on the reg just in everyday life. So bringing people into their country is like a no. Like they're a very insular nation as it is.
The Olympics, I know we're getting a little off topic, but the Olympics and the World Cup are kind of not analogous, but in the way that they'll set up and they'll come into a place and they say they're going to economic this and they're going to create jobs, and all they really do is leave that place with vestigial remains, these huge stadiums.
Yeah.
And then they go.
Yeah.
Boston shut down the Olympics. We were like, hell, we do not want the Olympics.
Yeah, we got enough shit.
Get out of here, because we're not going to change our whole city so you guys can have a month in front of the world, and then we're left with the remains when we've rerouted arteries just to put up a stadium, whatever. It's going to be interesting to see moving forward, because I think the World Cup and the Olympics are both going to start to go to more non-traditional nations, or nations that definitely haven't hosted before. I think we're going to start to see that, because some of the some of the other nations that have hosted a lot are like, no, we don't want that here. That destroys our cities.
This is what really should happen. And this is a little off topic, but the Olympics should be in the same place every year, every 4 years, or every 2 years. Every 2 years
should
for
be in
winter.
Greece. Every
4 years be in Greece.
Dude.
Every 2 years should
Summer
be
Olympics should be in Greece.
Every 2 years, every 4 years for Winter Olympics should be in one snowy place that's always going to be snowy.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Like that's it.
Well, why do we have
to fucking have
I know why.
circus?
Because it's about money and
it's about
branding
money. It's about
and backdoor
glad
deals.
handing and
and network
shady,
is net worth.
Yeah,
it's weird.
it's money. It's about money. I get that, but really, at the heart of it should be about the sports. But yeah, same with the World Cup. This whole thing where like Brazil was like building stadiums everywhere and like really play in jungles and shit where it shouldn't have been. That's wild to me.
And Brazil's a footballing nation.
Yeah.
Never mind like some countries that just aren't, where they're just out like bushwhacking and building, like Qatar, for example.
Right.
Anyways, that will go down on my theory on what's going to happen with that. But we're ending up, England are going to win the Euro.
Correct.
Argentina are going to win the Copa.
We got to keep our streak going here for.
If we got that right, that's going to be nice.
Yeah.
If you're a better, bet on that parlay, but then also bet on the Brazil-Italy parlay. I think they're going to be two good bets. The thing is, I think in the final, Italy's the favorite, even though it's at home in England. Is that right?
It might be.
And then Brazil's the favorite. So we're basically choosing potentially the underdogs, even though I think in England with their home advantage must be a favorite.
There aren't going to be many Italian fans in Wembley. Put it that way. I mean, I
wouldn't want to be an Italian fan of Wembley. If they lose. If you're an Italian fan and you're Wembley, you're praying they win. So the tomfoolery is lower outside the stadium. England might burn down. Have you seen like they're
going wild there? They're still celebrating.
Dude, they win a penalty and people like jump on top of like the chairs and shit and throw beer everywhere.
Imagine if they win the Euro.
If they win the Euro, it's going to be the greatest and worst thing to ever happen in England. Their egos are going to be...
We're never going to hear the end of it.
All the Brexit people will be like, I told you we needed to
Will they
leave.
be so the question is, if they win the Euros, will they be the World Cup favorites?
They'll be top 3 for sure.
It's not going to be Belgium anymore.
Belgium's done.
Belgium's done.
The greatest generation is done.
Italy will be in the conversation, and of course, always France. But I think England have, besides Harry Kane, who's 20, I mean, he's still being in his prime. They're youth. I mean, they're a young team.
You have DCL right behind him, who just a little bit more time, they're going to score. And honestly, Harry Kane he's had a good tournament, I guess, but like,
he looked a little slow.
It's really the defense that brought England to this point. Sure. So like,
but they're also young. I mean, they're also young enough for the next for the World Cup, which is only in.
It's like 5 minutes away.
It's like it's coming up.
It's literally
quick.
A season and a half.
I mean, all the qualifying's happening now for the World Cup. So
exactly. Well,
happening.
We're going to leave you guys with an outro today that is a ridiculous song that we found. And if you listen all the way through, you are a true fan of the beautiful game.
And the Bolos. Because you're here listening to us.
True. Facts.
And we have to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And email us at boysandbolos@gmail.com with your audio clip. You can literally take out your iPhone, go to the voice record function, click it, say, hey, what's up? My name is so-and-so, and I think this team's going to win, and this is why. Keep it to like 30 seconds to a minute. It should be, they have this player, they have this coach, they have this defense. And then drop that into an email. Email it to us at boysandbolos@gmail.com. We'll send out emails too, and we'll be promoting this on all of our social media. But we want to get that ready before the first week so we can kind of have that out. So, and also be on the lookout. We're going to get the Prem Fantasy up again. Oz won last year. I don't know if anyone can actually beat him if he plays again, but we can all try.
I'll be trying. I got 4th this year.
I got 16th of 20. That's a lie. I got 11th of 20.
I think you got 11th.
Mid-table. Crystal Palace.
All right. Well, that's it for the Boys and Bolos podcast.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to the Boys and Bolos podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Twitch at Boys and Bolos.
If you'd like to be a guest, please reach out. You can hit us on any of the social media accounts that Jeff just mentioned, or email us directly at boysandbolos@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time.
Let me hear them roar. Fear in the air when our boys score. But 0-0 against Scotland, I need more. Is it even coming home anymore? Then I see Phil Foden on the attack. I know he's doing it for the pie and mash. Calvin Phillips looking up the midfield, and Harry Maguire with a slabbing that kills. Gareth Southgate, sort yourself out. Get Sancho on a wing and chill the fuck out. Let Grealish loose, put him on now, and let that Vicar do us proud. We're more than an island, we're more than that. With the M25 and pie and mash, caravan holidays and postman Pat. He's coming home and that's fact. He's coming home, 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 he's fucking coming home. Bush! He's fucking coming home. Bush!
That's better for England. Still Phillips feeding Sterling. Sterling! England's first goal of the European Championships.
We've got Rashford. He feeds the kids, and Harry Kane, he's got a dirty list than Sterling. Yeah, he runs like a prick, but Tyrone Mings, he's built like a brick. We got Mason Mount in the middle of the pitch. Kieran Trippier on the free kick. I'm in a pub with the boys, we all think this is it. We think England can win like 1966. This isn't just football, it never is. This is for shitty seasides and fish and chips, for our bacon rolls and our shit politics. If we go one down, it is what it is, cause I know deep down the English never quit. Let's have it. So grab a beer, put the football on, put it on. Never fear, the three lines march on. Our time is here, Euros 2021. It's coming home, 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 it's coming home. Come on, it's coming home, it's coming home, it's fucking coming home.
Sterling!
Bush! It's fucking coming home. Bush!
Pitched by Mount. Knocked on by Phillips. Mount leading the charge. He's got Kane to his right, Sterling to his left. He draws the foul from Brozovic.
Let's have it. Or Will, get me a 2-part 1 match, please, son. Lovely.